So what I'm claiming is that the hard problem is a cognitive illusion. It's that scene from Men in Black where the giant bald man corpse in the morgue is pulled out on the tray, and Will Smith looks down and he sees a little hook on the guy's ear. And he pushes it, and ooh, the face rotates out. And inside there's a little green man sitting in the control room with loudspeakers on either side. He's got stereo and screens to look at and lots of buttons to push. And a conversation ensues between Will Smith and the little green man. How many of you have seen that? All right. That's a perfectly coherent bit of event. It could happen in some world. If we went to the planet of the giant people and wanted to pass for a giant, it might make sense to build such a puppet and put a human astronaut in the control room to do the job. There's no incoherence there, showing that it's possible for there to be a Cartesian theater. It's just, here's the empirical part. When we look inside, that's not what we find. We've looked, that's not what we find. Now we're going to get ready for the a priori part. If there were one, we'd have to explain the consciousness of the homunculus in turn. This is the a priori part. Eventually, all the work done by the homunculus in the Cartesian theater must be distributed around in both space and time within the brain and accomplished by non-conscious neural tracts of one sort or another. That's the moral. Not just the work, but the play too. All the enjoying and all the fright and the disgust and the hope and the love and the lust and all the other affective responses to conscious experiences, all that has to be distributed around because there's no homunculus in there to enjoy all that. The enjoyment itself has to be spread around in the brain. And until you address that issue, you don't have even half of a theory of consciousness. Or as I've called it, the medium. There is no other medium of consciousness, transduction into which is the advent of consciousness. This idea that there's a medium in there and that you get into the medium by some hard to understand transduction event, that is a very tempting idea I found, and there is simply no reason to believe it. It can all be done with neural spike trains, all of it, all the way in and all the way out to muscle contraction and action. Now, if you accept that there's no double transduction, if you accept there's no Cartesian theater, then you realize there's really not much room for a hard problem.